Welcome back. We've got breaking news out of France this morning. Here's what we know right now. At least 84 people are dead this morning, including 2 Americans, after a suspected terrorist drove a truck through a crowd celebrating Bastille Day in Nice. I want to bring in Ed Davis right now, former Boston Police Commissioner, joining us live. Commissioner, thanks very much for joining us. Your thoughts this morning on your takeaways from this deadly attack.
Good morning, Maria. Well, I've been up a good part of the night looking at some of the unedited video, and the truth of the matter is they've been successful again, and they are espousing a philosophy that's incompatible with our way of life. Sharia law is not something we can ever negotiate with. So we are in the middle of a battle right now that is worldwide, and the American people have to understand that this is going to be a long, hard slog. Our enemies think about this in terms of 100 years. So when we're in this for 10 years and we start to get antsy about it and try to remove ourselves from it, it's not our choice. It's the choice of the people that are attacking us, and we're going to be in this for a long time. And
any thoughts on the way they did it, driving a truck through a crowd, able to kill 84 people? Thoughts on the fact that no one has taken responsibility yet?
Right. The responsibility issue is something that's fairly common. I think it'll happen in the next day or two. But as far as the tactics that they used, I agree with the colonel who was on earlier. These are very simple, low-cost methods for killing a lot of people. And the truth of the matter is, even if you shut down both ends of a boulevard at any of our seaports or beach areas in the United States, people can still make their way in with a big truck like that on side streets and attack us. So, I've worked with sports venues that have done a lot in protecting the area with bollards and barricades. But the truth of the matter is there are crowds of people at church, at the mall, at the beach that are prone to this type of attack, and it's virtually impossible for us to shut everything down. So we have to go to the source of this.
And of course, you've seen this before. You were in charge when the Boston attackers upset and created havoc and tragedy when you were overseeing Boston in the marathon. Dagan.
Right, and when I see these pictures, they're very similar to what we went through, obviously on a larger scale, but very, very similar.
In what way?
Well, when you see bodies of innocent human beings strewn about the sidewalk and the street, that's really what they're doing to us, and we have to stop it.
Ed, in terms of the danger of all these soft targets that you just mentioned, whether it's people at a church, a beach, a mall, just watching fireworks, how far do we go as a nation to protecting those targets? Again, it's not just the cost, but it's also changing our way of life, which is exactly what radical Islamic terrorists want us to do.
Right, that's exactly their goal. So, Dagan, it's a very good question. I've talked to event organizers who have said that the cost of security have tripled since the attack here in Boston. So we can only go so far, and I think we are changing our life because of the actions of a few. And again, I go back to going to the source of the problem and trying to stem the issue there, and not trying to defend everything. There's a saying that he who defends everything defends nothing, and I think we're getting to that point in the United States at this point in time.
That's a good point. I want to get your take on this soundbite from Jim Comey, and Steve Rogers is with us as well, formerly of the FBI. The head of the FBI, James Comey, said winning the war against terror abroad boosts the chances of attacks here in the U.S. Listen to this.
The intelligence community assesses that as the caliphate is crushed, the so-called Islamic State will become more desperate to demonstrate its continued vitality, and that will likely take the form of more asymmetric attacks, more efforts at terrorism. So I agree with Secretary Johnson. It's necessary to crush the caliphate, but we can't take our eye off what the next move will be by these killers.
So what do we do in that regard, Commissioner? I mean, what do cities have to do to secure these so-called soft targets?
Well, we have to step up our intelligence. There's no question about that. We have to sacrifice some personal liberties if we're going to be safe. We've got to the point where dramatic and important steps have to be taken domestically so that we understand what's happening out there. And then we have to be able to act on that information. We can't, the political correctness that's been running our strategies has to be dialed back a little bit, and we have to recognize that we're fighting for our lives here.
And I would have to respectfully disagree with the FBI director, because if you look at what we did to al-Qaeda with our military, we virtually eliminated them from taking any action against this country. And this is why myself, as well as other people who are in the military, are suggesting a shock and awe attack on their command and control centers, their supply lines, the oil fields, decapitate them right in the Mideast, and in effect will also be eliminating their intelligence and operational capabilities. So, Maria, I would say that it surely would diminish their ability to strike here if we took a strong military stand.
Well, and it seems like the targets, Maria, they're soft and they're almost getting softer. I mean, we've gone from a marathon to nightclub bombing to office party and now just a fireworks demonstration. So I wonder, I mean, is there any, and I'll ask this to all of our law enforcement professionals, is there any rhyme or reason to a strategy of attacking soft targets in the U.S. and the West?
Well, to spread terror. That's what they know, that they could spread a lot of terror. And as the good chief here just said, you know, they're going after these targets because they can go after. They're using low-tech equipment. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to drive a truck into a crowd.
Right.
But the interesting thing about this truck, and maybe you could talk to this point, Chief, is he had explosives in there, and he was supposed to have other armament. Do you think he was also going to do something else after he mowed those people down?
Well, you know, when I heard that last night, it seemed to me as though that this was a wider plot where other people were involved. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have equipment in the back of a truck that you can't get your hands on easily. So, in my mind, I'd be looking for other co-conspirators on this particular thing. I don't know the amount of weapons that were back there or the amount of explosives, but if it was a sizable number, then you have to think about a wider plot.
Yeah, we're still getting our arms around that. Officials have said that there were certain things that were actually duds, but we will have more information on what was in that truck throughout the program this morning. Commissioner, thank you. Thank you for your insights this morning.
Thank you, Marie.
Ed Davis joining us.